have to admit that I've become quite the pessimist when it comes to Black African people, based on history, based on my own personal experience, based on what I'm seeing from African leaders, not just in South Africa, but across the continent, even in churches, even in business. I haven't read the articles, so I have to add the disclaimer that I actually haven't read the details of this, but apparently Edward Mnangagwa, the president of Zimbabwe, has announced that Zimbabwe will no longer be exporting raw lithium to the rest of the world, and instead they'll be looking to beneficiate, or rather adding value to the lithium before it gets exported. Lithium is a very important commodity or mineral that is used in most technological products, from our cell phones to our laptops, computers, smart TVs, even electric cars, whole host of other technological products. Very important, along with cobalt. I think lithium, Zimbabwe has a large amount of it. I think the Democratic Republic of Congo might have some. I know they have a whole lot of cobalt. I think there's another Middle Eastern country with lithium as well. A lot of people on social media celebrate it. They're like, it's exactly what needs to happen. Zimbabwe needs to own its lithium, add value to it, work on it, and then export almost a final product so that Zimbabwe can make more money and so that the people of Zimbabwe can have jobs and industry. This is where my pessimism comes in. I live in South Africa, Black South Africa, 80% Black South Africa, and we have gold, coal, platinum, diamonds, so many other resources. We know that most of our mines are not owned by Black South Africans. A lot of them are not even owned by white South Africans. They are owned by white foreigners. So already in my head, I started thinking, are the lithium mines in Zimbabwe even owned by local Black Zimbabweans, or are they owned by white foreigners in Zimbabwe? And if that is the case, what would stop those same white foreigners from being the ones to come in and create those companies? Maybe give them nice names, Mnangagwa, Moyo, Matinyarare, Maponga, whatever. But they're actually white owned. And then they develop those industries and they bring their white foreign people. And they give a few Zimbabweans, of course, jobs. I mean, our mines, there are some Black people that work there, specifically underground, paid peanuts. But the senior managers, the executives, the owners are not even in South Africa or Zim, and they're not Black. A Samsung, a Tesla, an Apple, for example, they go to Zimbabwe and they come and they buy up or they build these companies. And maybe because of my pessimism, Mnangagwa, some of his friends, some of his business partners, some of his political cadres, they go and they get the equivalent of Black economic empowerment shares. As we've seen in South Africa, where Patrice Motsepe is wealthy off mining, a Cyril Ramaphosa with Shanduga, companies like Pembani, companies like Pamodzi, as examples, they end up looking amazing. And you're like, but do these people really own these businesses? Or are they just fronts and BEE partners for white businesses and white foreign-owned businesses? And maybe Mnangagwa and some of these people are just looking for the same. Dos Santos in Angola and his daughter Isabel Dos Santos, they own a chunk of the economy in Angola. And Angola is oil rich. But can you say that the people of Angola have got low unemployment? That they're well off, that they're wealthy, that they are like a Qatar or a Dubai? No, but that family became extremely wealthy. Billions of dollars. Maybe the same thing is meant to happen in Zim, where again the political elite and some of these business people who are not even Black Zimbabweans are going to be the faces of what is going to happen. On the other side, what would stop the rest of the world from boycotting Zim and saying, okay, we won't buy your products and we'll see what will happen to your economy? Or we will fund rebel groups, as we've seen with Glencore across the continent. We will fund rebel groups to come in and destabilize the political landscape. And those people, when they win, they will give us what we're looking for. When the ANC comes into power with Cyril and Mandela and Tito Mboweni and Saki Matozoma and Mzi Khumalo, they will ensure that the Oppenheimers, the Ruperts, and all these other families do not lose their privileges and their wealth in exchange for these little seats, being a chairperson, being a board member, etc. and then we keep the game going. My pessimism, and I'm sorry, but this is what we've seen over and over again. Something to think about. Maybe go read up on the story. Maybe come and give me in the contents what maybe I may have missed. Maybe you're optimistic and you know something that I do not know. And I'm looking forward to hearing some of your thoughts. Congrats to the people of Zim for making this decision. I hope it brings a lot of value to the Zimbabwean people and it helps Zimbabweans move in some way. Shout out to Nigeria, who at some point created a lot of billionaires in oil, in gas. I don't know how much it's benefited the majority of Nigerian people, but I know there's a lot of wealthy Nigerians today because of that move. Something similar, I think, happened in Ghana as well, where they said they also won't be exporting certain products and they want to beneficiate and add value to them before they export it. Will it work? I don't know. I'm pessimistic. Let's see if maybe you can convince me otherwise. Pin you all the black pen. Cheers.